Hey everybody, this is a clip from the latest episode of the Randi Rhodes Show. If you want the full episode, you can watch live on Free Speech TV, Dish Channel 9415, DirecTV 348, Sling, Roku, and Apple TV.
Seem as like an armed insurrection to me. I mean, armed, when you hear of armed, don't you think of firearms? Mm-hmm. Here's questions I would have liked to ask. How many firearms were confiscated? How many shots were fired? I'm only aware of one. If that was a planned armed insurrection, man, you're really a bunch of idiots. I'm sitting back in my office watching video of the armed insurrectionists staying within the lines inside the Capitol. I'm seeing a bunch of people milling about. It wasn't until I really saw the video in the trial that you really saw, what was happening and how officers got injured.
Are we a failed country? Can I just ask you that? Are we that is Senator Ron Johnson from Wisconsin. Wisconsin, President Biden is on his way to you. Please, nestle him in your armpits. It's cold. It's cold. Yeah, tonight will be a CNN town hall. Joe Biden will be in Milwaukee. It will air on CNN tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern time. If you have electricity of any sort, please do tune in. Can you believe that we are a failed state? Or I should just ask you, do you think that we are a failed state? Here you have a senator from Wisconsin get on some local radio show and declare that there weren't enough guns. What is the message here, Ron? Next time, bring a gun. There weren't enough guns at the Capitol for his taste, meaning he doesn't want to call it an armed insurrection because he didn't see enough firearms. And the police showed enormous restraint. If they would have opened up, with guns, God only knows what the... Now, of course, if the if the insurrectionists, protesters respond to true injustice experienced in real life on the ground, and insurrectionists respond to lies that are perpetrated by the President of the United States, that he won an election, that he lost, and you need to kill people to stop the steal. You see what I mean? There's a, oh my God. But this seems to be a country that is wrestling, if not already in trouble with regard to white supremacist fascism. There's this crazy fight that is actually going on in this country as if it's a real question. Do you prefer fascism over democracy? Like, that is a real question for about a third of this country. That's so sad and that's so freaky, and it's just crazy. But here's why I ask. I ask because 60% of America believes that Donald Trump should have been convicted. 75% of America believes that we should have a stimulus package right now. I mean, like now. And 98% of America believes we should have background checks before you can get an Uzi in this country. And we can't get anything that we're for done. Instead, we get treated to moronic moral equivalencies and whataboutism, and a question of whether or not the insurrection was violent enough for Ron Johnson to consider it an insurrection. Wow. Sorry, but I'm not convinced that Ron Johnson is worthy of his office. Somebody will have to convince me that when you voted for this man, who thinks next time you have an insurrection, bring more guns, is that the message? Look, here's what happened. On 9/11, there were no guns. They used box cutters. Does Ron Johnson have a problem with the fact that the United States was attacked by virtue of people who wielded box cutters and not guns? I don't even know what he's talking about. Okay, but he's calling the people who did the insurrection, and now we have further evidence that they were very well coordinated. They were very prepared. They were very much waiting for Donald Trump to activate them, give them the order, tell them to go do it before they did it. They were totally wearing riot gear. They had improvised explosive devices, Molotov cocktails. They used crutches as weapons. They used spears, for God's sake, flagpoles with the American flag on it to beat police officers. I just... And 9/11 was done without guns, too. It was done with box cutters. So why do we have this kind of representation in this country? Seriously, why do we have this? And doesn't that just show you that Ron Johnson is so secure in the fact that any jury that could be put together by our government to hold a president accountable for inciting an insurrection would be rigged? And what does it say when you have a country that has rigged juries in the first place? What does it say when we saw people literally take an oath to do impartial justice, sign their name in a jury book, I mean literally put their name in a book in the Senate, swearing that they will do impartial justice, knowing that they had absolutely no intention of doing justice at all? What does it say about 60% of America believes that Donald Trump should have been convicted, and that some of them were GOP senators who voted to acquit him because they're afraid of their own voters? Are we still a democracy? Are we a failing democracy? Are we moving towards fascism? Are we fascist? How do we explain that state parties are censuring Republican members of the House and Senate who voted to hold this man accountable for telling lies so huge, so often, so violently, and that people actually showed up at the Capitol and tried to kill the vice president, were hunting Nancy Pelosi to try to kill her, and that we have senators who were witnesses to this and are saying, but there were no guns, so I'm not down for a conviction. What do we do? What choices do we have? I mean, if America is a majority rules country, then shouldn't 57 votes have been enough? Shouldn't it have been, if we're going to get a stimulus package, Joe Biden is going to Milwaukee tonight, right? And I just told you that, 75% of America want this stimulus money to go out the door. 75% want this money to go out the door. And we can't get it done. We can't get it done because they're saying that we need 60 votes to get anything done. If we need more than a majority to get anything done in this country, nothing's going to get done. And you can tell that because we have lunatic, fringy senators like Ron Johnson. By the way, I have to tell you, there are two Democratic senators, Joe Manchin. I don't know that Joe would vote no on the entire stimulus package if we include a $15 minimum wage in the bill. But you got a Democratic senator from Arizona, Kristen Sinema, who says she's a no if $15 an hour minimum wage is included in the bill. Now, I don't even know if $15 an hour minimum wage can be included in the bill. That is up to one person in this great big democracy of ours. That would be up to the Senate parliamentarian. She has to weigh in on whether or not that's a budget item. But when you can't get 10 Republicans to agree that a president shouldn't send mobs to the Capitol to hunt and murder members of Congress, do you think they're going to be flexible on anything that Democrats or a majority of America want? I don't know that we can continue on this way. I just don't think it's possible to govern for the majority with a supermajority standard for everything. Go to RandyRhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Bye. Hey, everybody. This is a clip from the latest episode of The Randy Rhodes Show. If you want the full episode, you can watch live on Free Speech TV, Dish Channel 9415, DirecTV 348, Sling, Roku, and Apple TV.